Yeah, so thank you for speaking to me today. It's a true pleasure. I absolutely adored Sing Sing. It's an incredible film. So, kind of for me, is because I want to ask the key questions. I think for a lot of people, when they think of prison, they kind of associate it with being an isolated and depressing experience for the people that are there. But you kind of show a different side to that. You show it can be like a hopeful place for people to actually rehabilitate. So, how important was that for yourself to probably convey that message in the film?
It's a great question. I mean, I think for me, I wanted audiences to feel like I felt when I was a witness myself to this program, and there's a warmth and care that is very profound, that is just happening anytime these men are gathered together, and when this work happens inside of these prisons, it melts those walls away, and it's a beautiful expression of the freedom of imagination.
And in tying in with that, you do have people in the film that were a part of the RTA, and that they are playing themselves in the movie. How was that actually directed? Because we've seen other films tackle that, where people have this true story and they play themselves, and it can lead to mixed results. So how was that for you to make sure that you were getting the best performances from these individuals?
I mean, it's just because of how extraordinary the talent base is from RTA. I mean, it's these men have decades of training on stage, from all of the productions that they've been a part of through the program, and they are playing a version themselves, but they are using a lot of the craft that they've built as actors. So they're capital A actors in this movie that are also bringing their own personal experiences into the storytelling.
Yeah, so tying into that, is there a key moment from when you're working with them that they maybe mentioned something that happened to them in the past that they're able to portray in the film?
Well, it's all over the movie, but a couple specific examples. In the writing process, Divine I and Divine G, the real guys, were a part of shaping the story with us. And the clemency hearing scene in the movie that's such a gut punch is actually directly pulled from Divine G's actual parole transcript. And so he was really asked those questions. So that's directly from his life that we then captured on screen. And several of the moments of breaking the mummy's code are recreated from how it actually went down in the program. And then the perfect place exercise in the movie was really just a prompt from Brent, who's played by Paul Racy, that he enters into that circle, and then every man answers from their own lives and their own stories. So it's all over the movie.
Yeah. In regards to, Divine T does have a small cameo in the movie. He's mainly played by Colman Domingo, who's excellent in the film. Yeah. So what was that like, you getting to work with somebody like Colman?
Yeah.
And in regards to how was that trying to make sure you mesh it well with the people who were these ex-convicts?
Well, I think it's largely due to the kind of person that Colman is. He's someone who never used all of his experience and training in film and TV as leverage over the rest of the cast. It was always in a spirit of collaboration and a desire to, join the community and not overpower the community, And so because that was his posture, all of the rest of the cast also met him in that space, and together they created this beautiful exchange where they each had so much to teach the other and to learn from each other.
Yeah, and what I love about this movie is you do kind of avoid prison cliches. There's no violent stabbings or any violent acts, but there's a level of tension throughout the movie that you think something is going to happen. Was that something that you knew going into, you want to have that level of fear, but by the end that's not going to be paid off, or was that something that while you're working through the film, it just kind of came out through the course of the movie?
Yeah, I think we just trusted that the environment would communicate that. You know, it's the environment of the prison could kind of hang in the corners like shadows or like a cloud, you know, and that's what also we're all bringing into it is a level of expectation based on these movies that we had seen, and so you don't have to do much work at all to sort of hint to those darker corners. And I think, you know, one thing that we were very explicit about was not ever presenting anything gratuitous or wrapped in those tropes or stereotypes from the movies that preceded us. You can say a lot with an image of just men being forced to kind of wait in these lines throughout the facility. There's something very equally oppressive about that, you know, without showing any bloodshed. So you could convey that exists without, you know, having to, you know, put that in anyone's face.
And you talk about like the oppression. Was that kind of why you picked the 4:3 aspect ratio for the film? Because it is a much tighter frame compared to something like the 185 to 1 or, you know, even widescreen.
Well, we're actually I think it's 166, and really we were just trying to mirror closest to the format we shot on, which was Super 16, and it's natural, you know, format presentation in terms of aspect. And I mean, that's probably a better question for our cinematographer, Pat Scola, but when he kind of showed me the first, you know, scans of what we were capturing in the movie, it just felt right for the story.
Yeah. And kind of a few more things, just because of time. So during the end credits, you highlight how people can support the RTA to help other people get, you know, the rehabilitation they need and stuff. So tying into that, how important is the arts to you as an individual?
I mean, it's like art. Being able to create art is like breathing to me, you know. And I think that wherever people have access to art, they thrive. Whether that's just being in the presence of it or getting to create it yourself, you know. I think it's an essential part of the human experience.
But that's my time, so thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes, great question. Very nice to meet you.